Imagine discovering that the greatest monster in Greek mythology isn't actually the Minotaur. Imagine realizing that the real story has always belonged to the women history barely remembered. That's exactly why Ariadne by Jennifer Saint has become one of the most talked about mythology retellings in recent years. If you've ever loved stories filled with powerful emotions, unforgettable characters, betrayal, love, sacrifice, and ancient legends, this audiobook deserves a place on your listening list. At first, Ariadne seems like the familiar tale of King Minos, the labyrinth, and the terrifying Minotaur. But Jennifer Saint completely changes the perspective. Instead of following the famous heroes, she lets Ariadne finally tell her own story, a woman who has spent thousands of years living in the shadow of someone else's legend. As you listen, you'll step into the beautiful yet dangerous world of ancient Crete, where every decision comes with impossible consequences. Ariadne dreams of freedom, but helping the Athenian hero Theseus escape the labyrinth changes her life forever. What follows isn't the fairy tale you've probably heard before. It's a deeply emotional journey about trust, ambition, heartbreak, family, and the painful price of choosing your own destiny. One of the biggest reasons this story works so well as an audiobook is its immersive atmosphere. The rich descriptions of palaces, temples, islands, and the mysterious labyrinth become incredibly vivid through narration. Every conversation feels personal, every betrayal feels heavier, every emotional moment lingers long after the chapter ends. Jennifer Saint also gives remarkable depth to characters who were once only side notes in mythology. Ariadne isn't portrayed as simply a princess waiting for rescue. She's intelligent, compassionate, courageous, and deeply human. Alongside her, her sister Phaedra has her own compelling journey, showing how two women from the same family can face entirely different destinies. What makes this audiobook unforgettable is that it doesn't rely on constant action. Instead, it draws you into complex relationships, impossible choices, and emotional conflicts that still feel surprisingly modern. Themes like finding your own voice, surviving betrayal, questioning power, and seeking freedom are just as relevant today as they were in ancient myths. Even if you already know the legend of Theseus and the Minotaur, prepare to experience it in a completely new way. This isn't a story about defeating monsters. It's about the people forced to live with the consequences after the heroes leave. Whether you're already a fan of Greek mythology or simply enjoy beautifully written historical fiction with unforgettable female protagonists, Ariadne offers an emotional listening experience that's difficult to pause once you begin. So if you're searching for an audiobook that's intelligent, moving, beautifully narrated, and impossible to forget, this is one you'll want to experience. You can start listening today with a free audiobook trial. Check the link in the description below and discover why so many listeners have fallen in love with Ariadne. Once you hear the story from her perspective, you'll never look at Greek mythology the same way again.